Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Mr. B. Today we have a very exciting show for you. Not so exciting, actually. As a Boston Celtics fan, I am utterly disappointed. I believe that Brad Stevens should be fired. I take nothing away from Brad Stevens. I generally like the guy as a coach. I thought he did a decent job. He brought another championship to the team. Danny Ainge, he was a protege of Danny Ainge, who I don't know if he's there, if he's still there. But Brad Stevens had made what I think is the dumbest move you could ever make. He just traded Jaylon Brown, who is in his prime. In 2024, the guy was literally the MVP of a championship team in the Boston Celtics. In 2025, he literally carried the team when Tatum was out for a season. He was the go-to guy and continued to have been the pillar of that team, the star power that kept their flame burning bright. And despite the fact that they blew a 3-1 lead to the Sixers last year, which probably they could have had another championship, the Celtics stupidly traded Jaylon Brown. They were shopping him around, and I think the disrespect got to Jaylon Brown. You do so much for an organization, and they continue to shit on you and do all sorts of disrespectful things like shop you around when you're already in a 3-year deal. That's crazy to me, right? That's not a team that shows confidence that they think you're a franchise player. And to me, it was a sucker move on the part of the Celtics. I ain't going to hold you. I have to call a spade a spade. That was a whole sucker move on the part of the Celtics. That's something you should never do. Disrespect a player like that. You know what I'm saying? So what did they trade him for? They traded him to Philadelphia for an older Paul George who's on the down turn of his career. Older man has had a major leg injury. He broke his leg at one point. And I think he's probably had, I'm not sure on this. You could fact check me, but I think he's probably had an ACL injury as well. And it's just been a crazy situation. But let Stephen A. Smith tell you the story.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this special edition Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you because an NBA trade is taking place. Let me not waste time. The Boston Celtics have traded star guard / forward, Mr. Hybrid himself, the one and only Jaylon Brown, the $304 million man, to the Philadelphia 76ers for 2 first-round picks, a couple of second-round picks, the ability to swap picks, all of that good stuff, and Paul George. That's the news going on right now. Now, let me tell you something right now. There's a couple of angles to take from this, and we're going to get it out the way first. First of all, Philadelphia 76ers, as far as I'm concerned, won this trade. Jaylon Brown's a studies an MVP candidate, fresh over averaging over 28 a game. Was an MVP candidate, led the Boston Celtics to a top 2 seed within the Eastern Conference without the services of Jason Tatum for more than 60 games of this year because he was out with that Achilles tear. We all know what Jaylon Brown brings to the table. So Philadelphia looks in a damn good position. Number 2, Bob Myers, who's presided over the Philadelphia 76ers, no longer the head man of the Golden State Warriors. We all know that this 4-time champion knows what the hell he's doing. So if anybody deserves the benefit of the doubt, it's him. And when you take into account the fact that this deal was made, you got to give credit where credit is due and give him the benefit of the doubt.
I want to point something out. If you guys are paying attention to what I'm paying attention to, it literally says the Celtics are trading Jaylon Brown to the 76ers for Paul George, which is not an even trade. Paul George is the height of his career when he played for Indiana. It felt like a decade ago when he was that guy. And he hasn't been that guy for a long time. But the bottom caption here where it says Philadelphia also receives 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. Now, I got to tell you something. They stacked. They gave Jaylon Brown away. They didn't get anything for him. You're giving the best player on your team. He's arguably that. He's neck and neck with Tatum. In fact, when it comes down to being clutch, he's their go-to guy. Let's just keep it 1,000. You may like Tatum's temperament, but Brown is the leader of the team. He was the leader of the team. Let's just keep it real. You gave your best player away, who was an NBA finalist for MVP. His name was in the conversation. He carried the team when Tatum went down, and you give him away for an older guy on the downturn of his career with injury history. Brown is in his prime, playing his best basketball, was the MVP of a championship team. Paul George has never reached those heights. And you give him away and throw in 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. So you give your younger, primed NBA MVP finalist player away with 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks for Paul George? What the hell? I don't understand what I'm seeing here. This is crazy. Now, I saw some people reacting to this online. My man was bugging out, and I'm like, oh, what did the Celtics do? I wasn't even, look, I've been hanging out with my kids all day. I'm not going to hold you. Just on my fatherhood thing. You know what I mean? I wasn't really paying attention to it like this. But seeing the facts of what the trade was actually for, this is ridiculous. That tells me the differences between Jaylon Brown and the team is personal. There's personal gripes between Jaylon Brown and the Boston Celtics. That's the only thing that justifies this whack-ass trade. You can't question the man's talent. He's definitely proven that he's talented and worth the money he is being paid. 28 points a game is no small feat. Consistent. And when he plays, he's dominant. On top of it, the guy is a pretty good community and a good teammate, from what we can tell. Now, there seems to be some internal conflict between him and upper management. There seems to be something. There's some gripes. Something's going on there. And they just give him away. To me, this is like that dumbass move that Dallas did when they gave Luka away to the Lakers for, I don't even know the guy's name, AD Davis. It was a ridiculous trade when Dallas did it. It's even more ridiculous when the Celtics do it. So to me, I'm insulted, honestly, as this is a fan of basketball. It's disrespectful, and it's not something that I feel like they should do, because Paul George will not be as productive as Jaylon Brown is going to be. And you're giving them also future picks. What? This was like, personally, the executives should be arrested for this. Whoever owns the team should fire the executives for this move right here, because that's a waste of money. Now, maybe there's some cap issues where financially they couldn't continue to sustain the 3 years that they guaranteed him. That could be it. But this is one of those things, too, with Jaylon Brown, I have to say. Bro, when you become the MVP of a team, you got to renegotiate your contract. You got to put a no-trade clause. You don't go nowhere until you sign off on it. Going forward, any star NBA player that signs a contract without a no-trade clause, meaning I agree that if you are going to move me, you're going to move me to a team that makes sense for me. You're not going to move me. I'm going to be real. I'm going to keep it 1,000 with you. The 76ers is not a good spot for Jaylon Brown either. It's not. Maxi's a great player on that team. Good guard. He can go up and down. Embiid is too up and down. Tobias Harris, too up and down. There's just a lot of shaky pieces that don't show up. I don't think they have the coaching they need to get to the next level. And I just don't know that Jaylen Brown fits in that system. You know what I mean? They don't seem cohesive in terms of how they move the ball around. And I don't see how Jaylen Brown fits in the system. And also, who's the number one option? Is it Jaylen Brown? Is it Embiid? Is it Maxey? Is it Harris? Who's the option? Now you get a situation where you got a lot of big name players on the team and a lot of upcoming young stars like a Maxey, but you don't know who the clear-cut leader is. And this goes back to a bigger problem that I think the NBA is having about teams that choose to stack players. It's almost like a wish list of players to play with other stars, but it always yields no result. LeBron is notorious for doing this. He'll just go around and collect players that he'd love to play with. Give me Westbrook. Give me this guy. Give me that guy. Give me that guy. And then when the team gels together, they're trash. They're big disappointments because you're like, wait, you got all the big names at various positions, but you guys look like ass out there. You're trash. To me, the championship winning teams are not teams that's got a bunch of star name players. They're teams that's got great chemistry, a system, and plays defense. The Knicks just won because they got a coach, they got a system. They bought into defense, and when they needed stars to step up, one star they relied on, Jaylen Brown. They have players that kept them in the game. You know what I'm saying? They had your man, what's his name? Cat Williams or Cat. I don't know if that's his last name, but Cat was there. He held him down. They had a lot of good supportive players. Josh Hart, supportive player. Josh Bridges could go off, supported players. Shamek, supported. These aren't brand name players. These are just pieces to the puzzle. Guys who play a role and guys who show up and do what they need to do. You can't put a bum-ass team together full of a bunch of aging superstars and expect them to play a full 82-season game. Philadelphia has been trying it this whole time. They went and got what's his name? What's my man's name with the beard? They got the beard. They had to trade him away. He was nothing. He was not the dude. They went and got Harris. They went and got all these players that you're like, man, on paper, these guys should be winning multiple championships over and over and over again. And every year they're an utter disappointment. You don't even know what you're watching out there. To me, that's not the move. The guys who say, well, I got the big three, the big four, that don't guarantee you no chip. The last time that was effective, I think, was when Miami did it. And that in itself didn't even last long. Let's be honest. Jordan is Jordan because they built the team around him. They gave him the surrounding pieces, and he built the guys that got drafted around him to a point where they became all-stars. He didn't go and say, well, I like Barkley. I think he's the best in this position, so get him. And I like David Robinson. I think he's the best in his position, so get him. And I like, another star player. He's the best. No. They had Bill Cartwright, Luke Longley. That's what they had. Those were the guys. Steve Kerr, Paxson, Ron Harper. These aren't no superstar players, guys who's making all-star teams. No, they were role players, and they went three-peat twice. Why? Because they built a good system around the stars. They understood their roles. They had a system, the triangle, a great coach, chemistry, and every year the team got better. We do this mix and match. Let's take this piece and that piece and this piece. Let's put it together and see how it goes. Well, all of those guys are old. Are injury prone. It's not going to work. LeBron is notorious for this. We got a young star from Dallas. He's got Luka, and then he's got this guy, and he's got that guy, and he's got AD, and every year utter disappointment. They're not even in. When's the last time they went to the semi-conference final? They're getting knocked out first round, and if not the first round, they definitely out by the second round. And you're like, there's all these big name players. What? You can't use them. Look, Kevin Durant's a great player. You score a lot of points. What the hell value did he add to Houston this year? Let's just keep it 1,000. Kevin Durant's a great player. Take nothing away from him. But he's an older player. And the moment he tweaks something, he's out for the series. Now you just playing. You went and spent all this money to go get this guy. But when you need him most in the critical moments, you can't use him. By no fault of his own, the guy got hurt. But if he's at the stage of his career where he's regularly getting hurt, it tells you the story. And then he's not going to bring you overboard to win a championship. It's not going out like that. These are guys who need the ball in their hand. Pause. They need the ball in their hand in order to be productive. And if you have a system where it's not clear that you're running design plays for players who are used to getting the ball, that's a recipe for disaster. So I don't know what the hell the Celtics are doing, but it's trash.
And assume that this man knows what he's doing because he does. And as a result, it is what it is. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint. And I'm saying to myself, you know what? I love this right now. This doesn't bother me one bit. I got to give respect where it's due. I got to give credit where credit is due. Just to reiterate the specifics and understand, everybody make sure we understand where everybody's coming from. Jaylon Brown has been traded from the Boston Celtics to the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers are sending Paul George 2 first-round picks in 2028 and 2031 and 2 second-round selections in 2028 and 2030 to Boston to complete the deal. This is after Miami.
I was able to take my resume from this to this in less than 10 minutes just using an.
Or rather, Boston wasn't able to pull off a deal to get Giannis and lost out to Miami in that deal. Boston had to get rid of Jaylon Brown. Philadelphia wins this deal because you're pairing Jaylon Brown, who's a dog, who's a stud. I'm saying that complimentary, of course. With Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, you talk about a 3-guard tandem right there that's lethal, and you shouldn't have any problem getting a bucket. Plus, Jaylon Brown's going to defend, and we got to pay attention to that. So in that regard, oh, by the way, he's 7 years younger than Paul George, 6.5 to be exact.
Stupid.
Paul George just finished fresh off of averaging 17 a game. Jaylon Brown was at 28 a game. Paul George just finished playing 37 games this past year, even though 25 was due to a suspension for, using the wrong substance and violating league rules. But nevertheless, he only played 37 games. Whereas Jaylon Brown played 71 games. So all the pluses are in Philadelphia's favor in that regard. And with Joel Embiid and his questionable health, always a question mark. It's more than apropos that it's Jaylon Brown that's become a Philadelphia 76er. Because that's putting your money where your mouth is. Because in case you've forgotten, you do know what he said about Joel Embiid once before, right? Particularly after Boston had lost in the playoffs to the 76ers. Listen to Jaylon Brown speaking about his now teammate in Joel Embiid. Check it out.
I mean, this is my personal opinion on basketball. Some of y'all might disagree. You know what I mean? But argue with your grandma. Flopping has ruined our game. Joel Embiid is a great player, one of the best bigs in fucking basketball history. Flops.
Fact.
He know it. This ain't breaking news. This ain't, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I can clip it up. Like I said, y'all can post it on these paid accounts that y'all, these bot, whatever. That's just my opinion.
Let me make a bet with y'all right now. I bet you Jaylon Brown don't give a shit about him flopping now. I bet you he don't care. How much you want to make a bet? He don't give a damn. If Joel Embiid flop now, because that's his teammate. And if it works, damn it, do it. Period.
It's not going to work.
End of discussion. Right? Jaylon Brown, in a matter of hours, went from having Mitchell Robinson as his teammate to having Joel Embiid as his teammate. That ain't a bad trade-off. Even if Joel Embiid only going to give you about 40 games a year.
What?
So let's get that out of the way first.
So dumb,
and let's understand that from a basketball perspective, knowing and anticipating that the 2 first-round picks ain't going to be high first-round picks because the Philadelphia 76ers is going to win more games than they lose. You got to give credit where credit is due and say this was a worthy deal to make. Now, there'd been 4 first-round picks, I'd have had a problem. But 2 first-round picks for Jaylen Brown, along with a guy that's 7 years older, 6.5 years older than Jaylen Brown, I'm sorry, I don't have a problem with this. So from a basketball perspective, combined with the fact that Jaylen Brown is starving to be that 1A dude, no matter what he says, Tyrese Maxey don't give a damn. It's not going to be an ego battle at all. Tyrese Maxey don't mind deferring. Tyrese Maxey going to do his thing. But he don't mind deferring to Jaylen Brown because Jaylen Brown can finish. And that's all he cares about. And imagine how VJ Edgecombe is going to grow and going to learn from being a part of teammates with those two. Philadelphia's in a good spot. Got to give credit where credit is due. Here is, however, what I have to say to Jaylen Brown. Was I wrong now? We know he's an all-world player. All of this brouhaha that's been made about me and Jaylen Brown, I got nothing against Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's a good dude. Smart as hell, decent people. Just coming across as a bit sensitive, that's all right. But he's not a bad person. He's a good dude. All I said after they lost is that you're a champion and an NBA Finals MVP. You cannot be saying that losing in the first round was your favorite season. That's it. That's not a reason for him to be upset or his dad or anybody else to go off. Go back and look at the tapes. I've been nothing but complimentary about Jaylen Brown because he's a stud. He's an all-world player. And he's going to do wonders in the city of Philadelphia. Make no mistake about it. He's that dude. But I wasn't wrong. Nor was I wrong with what I said a couple of years ago. When he wore them shirts talking about state your source, because I said, yo, he's not liked. I love how I see these people on over social media now and with their podcasts now, not giving me any credit, but echoing what the hell I said a couple of years ago. He's smart. He's accomplished. He doesn't suffer fools easily, and he's not to be manipulated. He's his own man. And Madison Avenue, figuratively speaking, doesn't like that. Because they don't like someone they view as hard-headed, not realizing it's not about hard-headed. It's about having pride and dignity and intelligence and following your intellect. I was complimentary of him. I was not insulting him. And sure enough, he doesn't make Team USA, but 2 players in Drew Holiday and Derek White, who both spent 82 games a year deferring to him and Jason Tatum. They made the team, but he did it. And sneaker deals and stuff like that. He got to start his own brand because, you know what, Nike and Adidas and others ain't rocking with him like he wants them to. All the stuff that I've said has been validated.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
And you know how it was validated? By the fact that he's a Philadelphia 76ers. Because why in God's name you're the Boston Celtics? And you're going to move away from a dude that gave you 28 a night and proved he could be a one option in the event that Jason Tatum is never the same again, even though I believe he will be.
That's a fact.
Why would you do that? Because you had to get him out of there, that's why. Because you knew in your heart of hearts he wasn't happy with being deferential to anyone. And he wasn't happy with that situation. And he wasn't happy with his name constantly being named in trade talks when he delivers what he delivers for you.
Fact.
6 conference finals, 2 NBA finals, 1 NBA championship, and an NBA Finals MVP after capturing the Eastern Conference Finals MVP before the age of 30.
Who would be happy to be treated like the way Jaylen Brown is being treated? Nobody would be happy with that at all. Nobody. You given before the age of 30, you just heard the man's accolades. And for your team to treat you like trash and throw you away, come on, man. Nobody would be happy with that. That's just a human thing. Nobody would be happy with that. It's like when you go to a job and you overperform and you're doing far more than they're paying you for, and they continue to show you disrespect, you're not happy. So that's what's happening with Jaylen Brown. He didn't feel like he was getting the credit he deserved. Let's just be honest, man. Like, and I could understand from his standpoint, if what I'm contributing is not welcomed, I don't want to be here. He probably was giving them hell. Like, y'all better stop putting some respect on my name, because if you don't, I don't want to be here. I'm out of here. So he probably was not easy to get along with after a point when the disrespect is going crazy. I could understand maybe they took offense to the fact that, you know, he said it was the best season he's had. That's his opinion. The man's entitled to his opinion. If he had to carry a team in the midst of his star teammate being out on an ACL injury, and he averaged 28 points and took a team that really should have underperformed to being the second best team in the league, and even though they didn't get over there after a 3-1 lead, they ran out of gas. The guy contributed for those series. He contributed for that season, and he said, I am confident that I had a good season. It was my best season, my better season. Maybe because what was required of him. He met his goals and he accomplished what he accomplished. Why the hell would you be offended by that? If anything, if you mad at anybody for them losing a 3-1 lead, be mad at the damn coach. It's the coach's fault. You can't have your team up 3-1, you lose three or four straight games, bro. That's ridiculous. That's on the coach. That ain't on him. That's on the coach. That's on the rest of the teams who was chucking up threes. That's on the not having a game plan. That's on the not making any adjustments. That's not on the player himself who been carrying the team. So you're gonna trade him away because of your failure to manage a team and to actually coach the team in the critical moments? That's not Jaylen Brown's fault. And if he says, well, without throwing any, rocks at anybody, I'm just gonna say I'm happy with my performance in the season. He's not wrong for that. I would say the same thing. That's not to me. If somebody don't like him for being honest, then they're the problem. He's not the problem.
That's what Jaylen Brown did. The brother's a stud.
Facts.
I like this move for the Philadelphia 76ers. It doesn't bother me one bit. We'll see what Brad Stevens, as the president of basketball operations for the Boston Celtics, ends up doing with these picks, along with Paul George, who's not going to mind being deferential to a Jason Tatum. But somehow, some way, it just appears Boston may have taken a slight step back, and Philadelphia might have taken a strong step forward.
That was dumb as hell. Let me say it again. That was dumb as hell on the part of Boston. Okay? You just traded 28 points a game, a guy who's 7 years younger in the prime of his game, in the prime of his career, a former NBA MVP who's in his 20s, for a guy who's never reached those feats, who once was a decent player, but who's now in the downturn of his career, who's 7 years older, and who only averages 18 points a game, if he even plays that. I don't even think he plays a full 82 games a year. What the hell is going on, bro? I don't care what the feelings is. You shut the heck up and you put that man out there and you play. You get the maximum out of your contract. This is foolishness. That is just foolishness. I don't know what the hell I'm hearing. So sucker move on the part of the Boston Celtics.
Congratulations to Jaylen Brown. Congratulations to Bob Myers and the Philadelphia 76ers. Congratulations. You have made things very interesting in the Eastern Conference of the National Basketball Association.
Sucker move for the Celtics. I mean, you can't blame Philadelphia. They're trying to get to a chip. They already know that time is dwindling. Look, Joel Embiid ain't gonna give you nothing, man. Let's just keep it 1,000. If he can give you 40 games a season, you're grateful for that. But he ain't showing up for you in the middle of the season. He's not gonna go deep into the postseason and be productive. So that's a nothing burger there. So you're gonna ask Jaylen Brown to essentially do the same thing he did with the Celtics without nearly as good of a supportive cast, right? That team is not gelling. I don't think they have the proper coaching structure to do anything. Right. So to me, Jaylen Brown, clearly he ain't had no choice in it. He's just gonna go beat Jaylon Brown. The man's already won a championship. He's already reached the MVP status of that championship. He's doing his thing. So at the end of the day, he don't got nothing else to prove. Right now, just get the bag. Go over there, do what you do, get your numbers, and when it's time to re-up on that contract, let Philadelphia write you a new check. You know what I'm saying? But for the rest of the people, sucker move. I don't like sucker moves. Brad Stevens, this was a sucker move. And I think you need to reevaluate, you know what I'm saying, the situation. Because I don't even see Paul George and Jason Tatum working well together. And they got a bunch of like pieces. Like Paul George ain't taking over no game, and Jason Tatum just came back off of ACL injury. He's not going to be 100% to carry the load Jaylon Brown was carrying. So I don't know what the hell this was about. This is a sucker move on the part of the Celtics. But that's it for me. What say you? All right. If you're not already connected to the show, like and subscribe and stay connected. But also weigh in. Let me know what you think. Am I tripping? Was it a sucker move that the Celtics did this? Or would you do the same thing? Right? Weigh in. Leave your comments in the comment section and let me know what you think. All right, guys. As always, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. God bless until we speak again. Later.